Thank you for joining me for another Quick Hits conversation. I'm Dr. Robyn. With me today, I have Stewart Wiggins, Dr. Cole Galloway, and Dr. Bob Choat. And I would like to ask the question, how do you know if you're happy? Stewart, can you kick us off?
Sure, I can. There's probably three elements to this, and I think it really has to figure out how your endorphins are firing, and because you can feel it if you're happy. But there's different things that make you happy. I mean, you could have a great slice of pizza, and that could make you happy. Or you could have like a really, really nice bottle of wine. That could make you happy. But it could make you happy to see your grandchildren and the feeling you get from that, or the feeling you get from seeing your spouse. So happy is such a broad topic to capture. But to me, the one thing about happiness is you feel it because you're ready to take on more. When you're not happy, nothing else matters. You're just not happy.
Yeah, I would agree that Stewart hit on the sensory side of that. That's that good piece of pizza, that good bottle of wine. For me, moving around, being outside in the world is happy. I'm going to show some of my Buddhist roots by going further and saying for Stewart, that was that more meaningfulness, going from the sensory to sort of the mental is, can I share that bottle of wine with Stewart? And then the next level for me is, can I take something I really love, like moving, and share it with Stewart and other people, and then sort of work in that space.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback in terms of what Cole mentioned, and on the Buddhist aspect of it, and because I'm also half Japanese, so I want to bring in the differences between the Eastern and a Western way, particularly the Japanese way. Because in the West, we're more individualistic and everything like that. In Japan, they have a concept, and someone used the Western terminology, is that of acceptance. So accept what is, because we can't change anything, obviously, except for our mental state. So once we accept what is, and just have that around us, and then the connection with the community as well. In the Japanese way, happiness flourishes, versus in terms of the Western way, which we don't want to accept what is for a lot of aspects of it.
What does it mean to be happy? Maybe we need to define that. Maybe it's a word, one of those words where we feel like we think we know what it means, but what does it mean to you to be happy?
If nobody ever told you what happiness was, would you know if you were happy? And the reason why I ask that is because if you've been around a child, and if something really makes them happy, they just let it out. They giggle, they laugh, they move.
Look at that picture behind Cole and that little girl in that car. Does she not look thrilled with life?
Exactly. That's happiness. So, and that's, to me anyway, if nobody ever told me what happiness was, I would know what happiness was because I would feel it. And I would seek it again. I think that happiness is whatever you're doing that makes you happy, you want to continue to seek it and seek that feeling.
Yeah, and to jump in and talk from a baby's point of view, Stewart's got it right, and Bob's got it right too. The interesting thing when you look at babies is what makes babies smile and laugh is the surrounding social environment. So it's really interesting. Kids don't come out of mom necessarily knowing how to laugh or smile. They make a smile. Stewart sees that. He goes, now look at baby Bob. He's the cutest little thing I've ever seen. And tells Bob, that is happiness. Let me show you. I'm going to hold you, maybe give you some food, maybe tumble with you. I'm going to show you that a smile or a laugh or this feeling, this connection. So back to Bob's recognition in the West, we're very individualistic. We're really not. We want to be. The myth is we're the lone cowboy. We were told that cowboys are cool, or Indians are cool, or smiles or laughs are cool, or happiness, that feeling, by our external environment. So back to the Buddhist thing, you really are connected. And if you look in the brains of people that are watching someone do something enjoyable and happy, and that person's brain that's experiencing, there's no difference. The big areas still light up, as if we're all kind of connected. And so I think, back to Stewart saying, like, when I enjoy that bottle of wine. Yeah, when you enjoy that bottle of wine with your sweetheart, you get it all. You're getting it all. And then when you share with someone that's even a stranger, you get that extra thing too. So it's a really, really good point they're making.
When we think about happiness, at least for me as a psychologist, there's kind of two levels. There's the dopamine happiness, which is the joy and that, wow, this is amazing. And then there's the serotonin happiness, which is more of the, this is contentment. I'm happy. I'm okay in this space. And I think those two things are two different kinds of happiness that we would do well to recognize.
As you get older, you sort of start to realize that happy and scared, happy and mad, happy and other things go together. You can be scared out of your wits at the movies with Stewart, sharing some popcorn, and be as happy as a clam because you're just terrified. You're safe, but you're scared. And I think that's that nuance of, as you get a little bit wiser, a little bit older, a little bit more time on earth, you do realize that happiness comes in the happiness can be found kind of in all these different forms, where earlier on you just glossed over it. You wanted the sensory level, and you realize that there's a lot more to hear than that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I can recall going back in terms of my life and looking at happiness in terms of different ways. And now that I'm 70 years old, it's completely much different. I love to experience and I love to learn. I think more in terms of my own self. Even more important, I love the kind of connections where I can actually grow with the person to learn from the individuals. Like my connection with Robyn when she reached out to me and having this and we just relay all kinds of information back and forth, and because of that I've even grown even more happier, not in an external sort of way like I had when I was younger, when I was like even going back like 30 years ago, when it was all about building a business and building wealth and all that kind of stuff. And I realized that really never made me happy. I had plenty of money, but it never really made me happy. It's just this whole shift to where I'm at now, this continued growth and so forth.
So when you hear that phrase "pursuit of happiness," it's a bit of a misnomer.
Yes.
Because there should not be a pursuit of happiness. Because I'll take a left turn and say, happiness is not limited to humans. I mean, you can't tell me when you come home and your dog starts bouncing around and is happy to see you and barks, that's not a form of happiness, So I think
on a neurological level, it has to be. They have to be having, the dopamine, the serotonin, whatever the chemicals are, right?
Exactly.
And not to get too meta, right? But I think Stewart and Bob and Robyn, you guys would agree that to have happiness, I think Bob alluded to it, to have happiness, you had to have all the crap before. The more crap and the more struggle and the more you've had to connect with people, the crappy work environments led to the great work environment. Just the more you appreciate, and maybe even the more you see happiness. Not that your bar changes to a lower threshold. It just, like Bob said, it just changes. It even puts a stamp on like struggle in terms of how do I get this happiness they're talking about? Well, probably you're going to have to work at it, and you're going to have to struggle through some things in order to richly find that. And I just want to ask Bob and Stewart just a sideline of, because I know Robyn's focuses on this a lot with our discussions. Is it too much to ask for work happiness? Happiness in the workplace? Is that a myth, or is that attainable, you think?
I don't think it's a myth. I think as a leader, I should try to make the workplaces not necessarily happy, but as comfortable and enjoyable as possible, because that's when I can maximize the productivity of the team. So I don't know whether that's happiness, but I certainly think I have an obligation to eliminate the obstacles so that they can enjoy working together and being there.
Yeah, I have to agree. Additionally, I think, and we know that studies have shown in a workplace, if a person has a certain level of autonomy, that helps to make them happy. And even the aspect of flow. So they get enough challenges where they're not over challenged and they're not bored. So they have to have that state of flow in order to really flourish and be happy within a work environment.
Guys, I'm going to have to cut us off there. I apologize. That is our 10 minutes. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I know for me to notice I'm happy means noticing the joy. So thanks so much. This has been joyful. I look forward to talking to each of you again soon.